Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RVing in New England. We're delighted to have you here with us tonight, and we are starting a little bit early only because of a glitch in the software that had it programmed just a little bit early. So good evening, John.
Bob, good evening. The good news is it's time for a show. The bad news is long sleeves.
Not yet.
Well, I'm drinking water, and you're not.
I'm not drinking water. Right.
that probably explains the temperature difference, or at least the feeling of the temperature. But
no, I still have my shorts and short sleeves on. You know, got to get past October 31st with it. Although it'll be a challenge. It's going to be a little nasty around here the next couple of days.
I even admit to having the heater on the other night watching the football game. But we've got a big camping weekend. We're going to be up in Maine this weekend at a wedding with the RV, and hopefully we won't get blown right into the ocean because it's an oceanfront wedding.
Really?
So,
oh wow!
Yeah. Oceanfront, Kennebunkport, right in Kennebunkport, and wow. I think they're thinking of moving it indoors. But also we get to meet Alan Warren. Alan Warren, our friend who hosts another very popular show right here on Facebook Live, will be coming up from Houston, Texas. And our plans are to meet with him and his wife, Lisa, on Sunday as they come into Portland. So it's a big RV weekend. And can I tell you about I'm going to the Patriots game tomorrow night, but not going to the Patriots game. Can I tell you that story yet?
Well, you did, but you can tell it again if you'd like.
Okay. So here's the deal, folks. One of our NERVDA members, Fuller RV, has a customer that rents out some of their larger motorhomes to tailgate prior to the game. And the normal person who drives down to Foxborough with the RV is not available tomorrow. So they asked me to, hey, John DePietro, do you want to go to the Patriots game? I said, sure. Where are the tickets? They said, well, we don't really have tickets, and we can get you into the parking lot right near the stadium, and you can hang around and tailgate for 4 hours. And then when the game starts and everybody leaves and goes to the game, then you drive the RV home. So we've got one of their brand new 2020 Georgetown models that Sherry Fuller and Bobby Fuller are entrusting me with to drive down in 50 mile an hour winds. That's going to be pretty cool. But
and the weather in that area tomorrow is supposed to be brutal. 3 to 5 inches in southeastern Mass between Thursday and Friday, and that's unfortunate because I'll be going to the wake for Marty Hnuth's son tomorrow, and I know Riney. I'm sure he'll be there, and Riney's on tonight. And people are going to be standing out in line for a couple hours at the wake, so that's not a good thing. But
you know what?
I just threw up the picture. What's that?
Go ahead. We'll talk about Alan. Then I want to talk about.
I just drew up the picture of Alan. He's got the RV Show USA that follows us tonight.
The RV Show USA. I couldn't remember. Jingle.
And he's coming in on a cruise ship in Portland. So John and I are going to have, and our wives are going to have lunch with him. And I suspect we're going to find an indoor restaurant too. I don't think we're going to be out on the rocks of Two Lights at the Lobster Shack, but they do have an indoor dining room.
Right. But, this is going to be interesting because here's a couple from Texas, from Houston, Texas, that thinks that they get seafood when they're on a cruise ship. But I know for a fact that the cruise ship that they're going on gets all their lobsters, and what they call lobsters are these tiny crawfish. They truck them up each week, from Florida to New York where they get this ship. And they're those tiny little lobsters. Now, I will say I'm not a lobster fan at all, but it's going to be thrilling to see somebody who's not from the area really get to enjoy what many of us here in New England maybe take for granted, Bob. Would you say that when they see a real Maine lobster in Maine that probably was caught only just a couple hours prior to them?
That's right. We get
dropping it into the water.
We get them right at the dock off the boat, and within 2 hours we got them. They're done. They're in my stomach.
Right.
At that point.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't get into that. But
so we got
you know what?
Maria's on, and I think we scared her. She's going to be. Oh, she's at Normandy Farms for the Halloween weekend. That's on the 17th.
Next week, yeah.
Bad weather this weekend, Maria.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle and Laurie, I think both of them are on. Evening guys. I know they're heading out to the Arizona home on October 18th. So she got a nice journey trip planned out there. Good evening, Ryan. Hello, Jason. We might squeeze in. I forgot to put a graphic up of the new Good Sam logo, but we might talk about that a little bit tonight if we have time.
But you know what? Let's take a second to talk about where you're going this weekend, because I think last week we mentioned briefly that the people that ran Marty's US RV, which is now a Camping World store down in Berkeley, had a very tragic event where a week or so ago their son was in a boating accident and was lost for Friday to Wednesday?
5 days. Yeah.
4 or 5 days. And I think when we were on the air last week, we knew that he was missing, but didn't know that he had been found, but was found. And you know what? Especially in New England, the RVing community, from the dealership side as well as the user side, are really family oriented. And tell our audience, Bob, how long you've known Marty and what your relationship with that family.
I've known Marty probably for at least 30 years, and the family, because Marty in the early days when we did the Boston RV show at the Bayside Expo, Marty would have one of the largest exhibits because he was our high-end diesel pusher dealer for New England.
Yeah. He had those Beavers and
he had Beavers, Safari, he had Monaco, he had Holiday Rambo. I think he had Country Coach for a while, and he just used to do a fantastic job with the advertising and the marketing, but most often is customer service, and was quite an entertainer and had big rallies for his customers in September and in the spring and the fall. So I'm sure it'll be a sad time, but the family's been strengthened by the love of all the community down there and their friends and their families, and the postings about Mark all week have been incredible. He was an incredible young man, taken too soon at 35. So we will see them tomorrow. So we got a good crowd tonight. We got there's 2 gals and a dog say we're off on October 18th down to North Carolina, up to Illinois, down to Louisiana, then Texas and Arizona. Diane Quayle. Hello, Diane.
Man, we don't know where the Pokes are. Mark, where are you? Are you still traveling? Or are you
They're at Hershey. They're at Hershey for the big classic.
Car show. So they've been on the road since. Yeah, they've been on the road since Hershey, haven't they?
I think they have. Yeah.
Well, it's nice that they get to take some time, because they're probably, one of the hardest working, certainly one of the hardest working husband-wife couples.
Oh yeah, they worked all summer doing videos and stuff. So they deserve a break. But I know they're working on the road also. Yeah. Mark's down there picking out his next project. So.
Oh, buying a beat up car.
Yeah, Dawn doesn't know that yet.
Yeah,
he forgot to tell her, but
forgot to tell her. Yeah.
Project. So
maybe
I did something different this week, and I know you haven't seen it because we don't practice this stuff. So if you folks like this segment, let me know, because it's completely different. It was just a random thought this afternoon before I brought out the Jack Daniels. Did not even have a drink, but we want to. We often talk about our dealers and what's going on around the area. So, Majors RV has a big fall open house starting tomorrow, and tomorrow veterans and seniors are 10% off, and we also have the contest, USA Today contest, that when we started promoting it, Normandy Farms was number 2. I'm happy to report Normandy Farms is number 1. I'd like to think that that's the result of our fans up here and our campgrounds.
Let's not. When I voted earlier today, it said it was number 2. So I don't know whether that was earlier or later than.
Oh, all right. No, I think we're number 1, but it could be close. But what I think is important in this, when you look at the top 5, the other 4 are luxury motor coach resorts, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's a very small segment of the marketplace. Yep. So you've got Normandy Farms, which is a full full service family campground that services everything from a pop-up to a diesel pusher, giving them,
including tents,
those multi-million dollar resorts a good run for their money. And I think we got to get them over the line. You can vote till October 21st.
So we should tell people where they should go to vote on that. Or
I'll post.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we will post that up. And before we get off of majors, let me see here. Tell them what you're doing at majors.
So on Friday, we're going down to majors from 9 to noon. We're doing an on-site, online program, Facebook Live, where they're having their fall open house. And we'll be doing live interviews every half hour from 9 to noon. And there'll be specials that we're going to talk about. And it's always fun going down to the people at majors for this event, because you know what? It's the time of year that they've got some great winterization specials. They'll check your roof for you. And as I found out this summer, you need to check your roof all the time. And the other thing I found out when I was talking with Sherry Fuller today, and I think everybody will agree with me, that the sun, even in New England, can do more damage on the roof of your vehicle than the wintertime. So don't think that just because there aren't trees falling on it and snowstorms, that your roof is totally safe up there. The sun does a job on the caulking. And you know what? I'm at the point where, for two things. Number one, my wife doesn't want me to go up on top. And number two, the ladder says weight limit. And I'm right at that weight limit for the ladder. So I'm not going up on my roof. And
so if somebody wants to come down and meet you in person and get your autograph and have you sign their T-shirts and hats and and hand out your 8x10 glossy photographs, what time will you be down?
I'll be there Friday from 9 to noon. Friday from 9 to noon. And feel free, if you do come down, bring food. And I have a tester, because being a celebrity, we can't eat food from the general public. We have to have somebody else try it first.
Well, that's a good point. All right,
but
mark your calendars. I started posting stuff this week, so we're almost into show season. But the Boston RV and Camping Show has new dates this year, January 24th to 26th. Still at the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center. We had to move due to a big business conference that was coming in, but that'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We will not be doing a Monday show. Forest Marine and RVs up in Tingsboro has their fall savings spectacular on their pre-owned inventory. Lots of times sales are all the new stuff. Well, you can get good deals on their new Jaycos. They're exclusive with Jayco, but you can also get a tremendous deal on clearing out their pre-owned inventory. So that's
plus the other thing with Forest, Bob, I think it's very important that we point out that, as far as I know, it's the only dealership on the East Coast that you can buy an RV and a lottery ticket in the same building.
It may be the only one in the country.
What you should do is go in and buy a couple lottery tickets, and maybe you'll win enough money that your RV won't cost you anything.
That's a good point.
So
all right, we got a double header for Flag RV. I just got that graphic about an hour ago. They're starting their end of season sale on Saturday. That's always a big sale at both of their locations, Uxbridge and West Boylston.
2 weekends.
Yep. And they also are the vendor of choice in the MGM Springfield Casino RV giveaway for the month of October. I believe the drawing is actually around the 16th or the 17th. So you better get out there quick.
Okay, breaking news. Bing, 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 bing. Yep. Breaking news. We interrupt this program to bring you this special news bulletin from RV TV. My name is John DePietro, anchor, and I'm on the scene now. Our correspondent, Riney Layberger, has just found out that Normandy Farms is, in fact, in second place. And all of us in New England do not want to see a New Englander come in second place, because we know New Englanders always come in first, at least in football, and Normandy Farms is in the same city. So we need everybody to check the page, the Facebook page, right after this broadcast, and Bob will put the link down. Right, Bob?
Yeah, we'll make sure that you have the link. They were. Ronnie says they're still in second place. No, they went back to second place. They were actually in first place for a couple of days this week. So the big money machines at those big luxury courts may be working against us small blue collar workers in New England. So we got to
there might be voter fraud because you don't have to show IDs to vote on this.
So
people might be voting over and over and over again.
Okay, so we have to rise up and do something and get Normandy Farms up there in the #1 slot. And,
in fact, I did some checking. Riney actually did this. He did some research as to why they're in second place. It seems as though there was a big place down in Key West that had a lot of votes just come in from Russia. Now, we can't verify that yet, but we think the Russians are influencing this election.
Okay, well, we'll have to check that out. So
we'll watch MSNBC tonight.
Yeah. So last, we want to remind you, #1, we'll be posting stuff probably between now and the end of the week. A lot of dealerships. Some dealerships are going to close on Columbus Day. Some are going to stay open for the whole weekend. So we'll try to post those as we learn about those from the dealers. And you want to get ready to winterize. Like David Major, when you if you go to Major's on Saturday, David himself, the owner, the #1 man, is doing winterizing seminars every hour from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 4 o'clock is the last one on winterizing. I know Campers Inn has a lot of winterizing schedules. They're a little different time-wise, so check your Campers Inn location, but you can make appointments for those. But all 4 of those locations during October have a bunch of winterizing clinics, and most dealers do also. So you want to check your local dealer, but you want to make your appointment now.
One thing people need to be perfectly clear, the seminars teach you how to do it, but mechanically I'm totally useless. And I always have a nearby dealership do that work for me, because if you miss one aspect of the winterization process, you will pay for it in the springtime over and over and over again. A lot of people forget to clean out the hot water tank. They forget to bypass this, that, or the other thing. So maybe it's just as easy to go to Majors, have them do it. Listen for the seminar just for something to do, because they do have donuts and stuff down there.
Yep.
But
and speaking of,
wait until the 1st of November.
Yep. And speaking about Campers Inn, all 4 locations starting on Friday. This is the 11th to the 14th. Have their Monster of the Year sale, Monster of a Sale, coming up, and that's at all 4 locations that they've got. And the last one that we want to make sure you know about is our friends out in Rutland, who you will get, if you buy before October 14th, you get a $100 gift certificate into their parts and accessory store. So that becomes very valuable for you. And they may still have some apple donuts and apple cider left over from their fair.
Yeah, and Ryan's just back, and he mentioned that his dealership, Bradford RV, their tailgate party special event pricing has been extended and still in effect. See, he's our correspondent, and he's also the advertising director at Bradford RV.
He's earning his money tonight. That's good.
Yep.
All right. The last thing we want to mention is we do have the RV Education 101 streaming video online training sessions. They're available on the NERVDA website. Same price as if you bought them directly from them, but we get a couple of pennies off of each one, so it helps put some little extra money into our coffers and helps support things like this show. John, why don't you run through a couple of the comments?
Yeah, okay. So David Rudzik. Well, David, we'll get back to David in just a second, although he did like my joke. I think it was my joke about Russian interference on this election. Maria said, LOL. Maria Riney's Normandy Farms. Okay, still in second place. Love Normandy Farms. Have been going there every year for the last 18 years. Michelle and Laurie love Normandy Farms. In fact, I think it'd be safe to say that in the not too distant future, there is featured on Rolling on TV is going to be a segment that I think, Bob, I think you set this up, that we did at Normandy Farms with Marcia and Jason and Joe and Walter with the Good Sam with the Halo's Wish event, which took place about a month or so ago. So watch for that at Rolling on TV. And somebody just wrote something about Louisiana, Texas. Okay, that's their trip. And David said, what's the best device to techies out there? How to get a strong Wi-Fi signal in your RV if you're in a valley? You know what? We should get Mr. Perry, Mike Perry, on for that, because I think there's Wi-Fi Ranger, or there's some new products that are out there now to answer that question. Stay tuned on that. Maybe if Mike Perry is watching, he can tell us on that, David.
Yep.
So,
yeah, we should get Mike back on. I know he's been pretty busy lately. And I had lunch with Mary Ott from the REMA Group, which is similar to what Mike does, and she's got some satellite stuff. So we got some people that we'll bring on. But there is a website, David, and I'll post it. I want to say it's Internet Mobile Resources, and the only thing on that site is all the information you need about Wi-Fi devices, data plans, and what have you. So I'll post it later on. But it's Internet Mobile Resources, and it will tell you, and that goes into the plans and the technology. When we bring on people like Mike or Mary or some of our manufacturers reps, they will talk about specific products that they have in that marketplace.
And Bob, before we get into our continuation of our discussion of all the new stuff that we saw in Elkhart a couple weeks ago, I think now is a safe time to say that please take an opportunity, if you would be so kind, to share this with other folks in the RV lifestyle that either are getting into it or are already into it and want to learn more. Thanks to your help. I think last week's show, what are we, over 11,000?
11,532 just before we went on the air.
Yep. And this time last year, we were getting, 2 and 3, or maybe even 3 or 4,000, but now we're continually getting between 7,000 and 15,000, and that is without voter fraud.
Yes, that's right. And I was talking to the marketing director at Grand Design this week, and he asked for permission to post our shows on the Grand Design consumer website. Obviously, doesn't want the ones where we have competitive products to Grand Design on there, but there's most of our topics are not product specific or manufacturer specific. So I thought that was a good acknowledgement of, and he loves the program and loves the things that we bring to the public. So they want to share that with all the Grand Design users in the country. So that'll hopefully get our numbers up there even more. And we got some new technology coming. We got some new microphones we're going to be testing. We got some. We hope some.
Hey, we're looking into that new iPhone, folks. Has anybody out there got the iPhone 11 yet? If you have, just write it in the comments here. Let us know how you like it, and because I
think that's my next. I think that's my next toy. I don't need a new phone, but I want a new phone. So
the fact is, folks, with the new technology that's out there today, and we're working on a new format for this show as well that will allow us to have 2 cameras or 3 cameras, and to have green screens and show a lot more, even show video, which will allow us to go out into a dealership or a campground, or talk to you guys during the week, and then run the video right here. So, 3 or 4 minute videos. The new technology is absolutely amazing. When I started in the TV business back in 1978, to do what we're doing right now, you needed the equivalent of 2 trailer trucks and a power truck that was as big as a generator to launch the space shuttle. And now we do it with a telephone and a handheld microphone.
Yeah, so it's exciting stuff. It really is. So you already mentioned sharing, and the shows are available. They're archived on our website. You can watch them all. But we also now convert every one of our shows to a podcast. So if you go to nerdda.com, click on podcast, you can download them and listen to them in the car if you're busy, or take the link and send it to one of your friends and have them listen. So let's go to Elkhart.
The podcast thing. The great part about the podcast is that if you're driving on a 2 or 3 hour trip, the podcasts are about an hour. They go by pretty quickly. The only bad part about the podcast versus the Facebook Live thing is you can't see me. But otherwise, the content is all there. And if you want, I'll send you an 8.5 by 11 glossy photo autograph that you can put on your dashboard right next to your podcast equipment.
Yeah, but only if you sign it.
Right, signed. Yeah, exactly. That goes without saying.
Yeah, they don't want something that anybody else could kind of fake it a little bit.
No. So let's go back to Elkhart. What do you say?
All right. So let's do this. We want to talk. We talked a little bit about it last week, but we want to make sure that people know that in your travels, Winnebago has accessibility enhanced motorhomes. With Mark Douglas being their ambassador for this program. You'll see him at trade shows now. Select dealers, every dealer is not going to have them, but they have a diesel pusher and 2 gas models that are going to be handicapped accessible with a built-in wheelchair lift as standard equipment. That's something that gets a lot of attention on the shows.
Let me just mention something about that accessibility thing there. And I know we've got many photos, but we've got so much we can't go into 5 photos per unit here. But Winnebago's theory behind creating one of these units is they have 3 price points. They have the Intent, they have the Adventurer, and then they have the Forza, the diesel pusher. But their theory was this: even though mobility may be an issue, it doesn't mean you should have to give up RVing. So what they did was they designed this lift that will not only get you from the ground into the motorhome, but the rest of the motorhome is designed with the low sink, with the low tables, with the toilet that's specially made, as well as the shower that you can roll a wheelchair right into it if need be. So it's not just a doorway, but it's a total unit. And I think it's something special.
Yep, it's a good point. The one on the left is a Woodland Park model. Woodland Park model RV, and we showed some of the crop models last week. What was interesting about this one, when you look at park models, and certainly many of the RVs that squeeze a loft in above on the back, is what intrigued me about this one is that they put a full wall with windows across there. So in most park models that have a loft, you'd see the railing up there and there's no privacy up there, whether it be a kid's or sleeping quarters for one of your guests or something. So they introduced Woodland Park. John Sword, who's a good friend, and every once in a while he joins in. John's the fellow that gave me the Jim Beam that should have been the Jack Daniels. But anyway, they actually sealed the whole top end of that with a couple of windows. So I thought that was creative, and that's what we like to see. We like to see some of this creative stuff go in there.
Yeah, you can lock those grandkids in there all weekend long and just slide food under the door.
Well, you could do that. That's true. The other thing,
the award winner from a couple years ago.
Yeah, and this one, before we do that, okay, so Martin Qualey's on, so Diane let him out of the corner with the dunce cap, and he's back watching us again. I assume by now, Martin,
his hair isn't pink, I hope.
No, the pink must have washed out by now.
That's presuming he showered between now and Labor Day.
Well, that's true, but do that. So Riney wants a copy of your book, by the way. I don't know if you still have any copies of your...
No, interestingly, Bob, Riney has a copy of my book, and I don't recall giving it to him. And he showed it to me when I was down there. Somebody hijacked my book from India and printed it in India and sent it back here. So I don't make a penny out of it. Riney, at least send me $5 for the book. So some publisher in India grabbed my book and whatever. At least it's not.
You must have copyright. Talk to Mark Polk. He gets copied all the time. But,
right.
Sue somebody. These two, they were interesting because what they show is that in addition to the trailer or to the motorhome, you can tow things behind you. Now, certainly you're not going to tow the tent on that Airstream base camp, but that tent is about the size of the base camp. So you get a chance to buy a smaller unit and then you get a larger tent. So you basically have, the base camp, I think, is 16 feet. That's probably about a 15 or 16 foot tent. It gives you a 30-foot trailer by the time you get set up, and it's pretty roomy inside.
Well, that was kind of the theme that we saw with a lot of units this past trip to Elkhart, is that when you look at them for their travel mode, they're much smaller than they are in their use mode. And, they're expandable, and, you got the rooftop coming up as we saw last week. So your footprint isn't any bigger, but you got a lot more use. This thing here, this is absolutely amazing. This other piece there.
That's the Chinook motorhome with the trail, what they call their trail wagon on
The lookalike. The
and
lookalike trail.
Yep, they're matched perfectly. The other
Can
thing,
you zoom in on that? Can you go closer in on that? Because I don't think that really.
No, I can't. With this version of software, I think when we upgrade to the one that allows us to do the green screen, the videos, we're going to have more flexibility on the photos, and I do believe that also allows us to zoom in on them.
Right. But if you take out the base camp, well,
okay, yeah, I could do that,
because I don't think you can really see that. And I can't tell if I'm up there too. Drop me off, and
okay, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, so that's a little bit larger, and that hooks on. Now, interesting enough, in addition to that, and what Airstream showed, let me drop the Chinook down, but Airstream showed something similar with the Airstream Class B motorhome and the Nest trailer being towed behind. And let me bring John back up here. One of the things that's interesting with that is I think that with this advent, we see you're on screen, John.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot more smaller trailers. So I think you're going to see a lot more tents equal to the size of the trailers, and that's very popular in Europe, as I showed during some of the Caravan Salon photographs. They have tents that go the whole length of a travel trailer. So I think you're going to see with a lot of these small units that are coming out, tents and that go with that. And I think you'll start to see a lot of people start towing behind these Class Bs. They may tow a small trailer themselves, much like the Nest. That could have been a base camp product behind that also. And you're going to see them start to have more of those custom wagons behind there. That particular one on the Chinook is a toy hauler, but in those toy haulers you put fold down sofa beds, so it becomes extra sleeping quarters too on that.
And I think it's clear. The trend, Bob, is that the trend is away from the big 40 to 45 foot diesel pushers. As I say that, you bring up the big Super C that looks like that might have been it with our friends at Claude Donati's gang.
It is indeed. You have a good memory. That is the Nexus Ghost Super C, and you can see on the inside with the bunk beds. Now, these are interesting because I think you're going to see an increase in popularity of the Super C. There is definitely a decline in the Class A big diesel motorhomes, and a lot of those people are dropping down to the Super Cs, and the Super Cs are being configured either for a 2-person coach or a 6-person family. If you got a configuration like you see in the lower left, that's just outside the master bedroom. So you got a queen size bed in there, and you got 2 bunk beds there, and you still have the dinette that can sleep, and many of these have overhead bunks. So a lot of families are moving up from a Class C now that they see how easy it is to drive a Super C. It's not much harder than a regular Class C. And one of the benefits, and we've talked about this every time we show them, is Super Cs, whether they're built on the International or the Freightliner or the Ford 450 or 550s, they can be serviced at truck stops on major highways. Those truck stops traditionally will not service motorhomes, Class A motorhomes, because they can't take billing hours away from the truck drivers who stop there for repairs. But a Super C is no different than an 18-wheeler pulling in, so they treat them the same way. And that's becoming popular. So as you see some of these people getting off of the large diesel pushes, they may step down to a Super C versus going to a regular C. Or, I mean, some might go to a Class B, but I don't think you're going to see that.
Although Jerry, who just joined us at Majors, said that's not capital N, capital O, capital T, a drop down. That's a move over more so. You're not dropping down. And the other reason a lot of people like the Super Cs.
Okay. I thought when I looked at that, I said, not a drop down. How can you see inside the cab? I thought he was talking about the drop down bed. So a step down, Jerry. Doesn't need to
see. In fact,
you might be stepping down from a $500,000 diesel pusher to an $800,000 Super C, like the new. I don't think it's $800,000, but the new Newmar Super Cs are certainly in the $600,000, $700,000 range.
Yeah, but Nexus has them in the low 200s, if not the high 100s.
Not on the Super C. On the regular Cs.
Well,
I think.
The other thing with the Super Cs is they're a lot easier to get. Like you said, the engine is in front, the same as in a truck. You know, like a what do you call it? Moving truck or something like that.
Well, it's a medium duty
truck. Work on that.
Yeah.
A lot of times they won't go into. They don't want to go into a Class A diesel pusher where they've got to work from the bedroom to access the engine. So this is a lot easier. That's what Claude tells us.
Yeah,
much easier to get it.
David, I think you mean the Dutch Star diesel for the Newmar Dutch Star. It is. That's one of the top of the line. So Jerry's on from Cape Cod again. Okay, looks like a colonoscopy.
Yeah,
David,
I was going. No, that was those two units that were stuck next to each other. That was.
Okay. Oh, all right. Another trend. Let me do this and this, and let me bring up this and this. Now, this is a small travel trailer, about 24 to 25 feet. But one of the things that you see in a lot of the trailer, this happens to be I want to say the Imagine XLS from Grand Design. But as you've seen in a lot of the Class B motorhomes, they're now incorporating Murphy beds. So although this is a small trailer, it packs a powerful punch. And you can see on the back, it looks like a toy hauler, which it is. But on the lower left, you can see the Murphy bed, which folds up during the day, and you have your couch. So you kind of got your living room and kitchen right there. But let me drop the unit down and show you what the back end of this looks like. So that's your toy hauler back end, but you can see it's got bunk beds there. So for the kids, it's a little extra, and you could bring motorcycles or dirt bikes on the other side. You could travel with the beds up. There's a kitchen, half a kitchen in there. Travel with the beds up, take your ATVs and what have you, get to the campground, put it down. So in 24 feet, again, going down a little bit smaller, but in 24 feet, you've got a toy hauler, a Murphy bed, bunk beds, full living room, full kitchen. And
but we have to interrupt this program to bring you a special bulletin. And I'm so happy to see that this person can almost tell time now, because Rick Kessler joined us 33 minutes late and had the audacity to say, "You started without me." Now, he said the same thing last week, but he joined us at 7:59. 59 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So he
is getting better.
So he thinks he's early this week.
So my guess is that by February or March, when we're in the middle of the show season, Rick will join us at the proper time. And tell everybody who Rick is, Bob.
Rick is the managing editor of RV Business and Woodall's Campground Management, which is owned by G&G Media, which is our friends Sherm Goldenberg and Greg Four.
Yeah,
who used to be the president and owner of Dicor. So they've got RV Business, which is a trade magazine. and they've got Woodall's Campground Management, and they do some major events for the industry out in Elkhart. They sponsor the RV Power Breakfast in May, and they do the RV Business of the Year show in concert with our friends over at Rolling On TV, which we will be going. I'll be going. I'll see what your schedule's like. They're going to be filming that in November this year.
And we should also say that Rick is a huge college football fan, and he's a big supporter of the University of Michigan.
You may have the wrong school, John.
And we will just see if he's listening. We're just
that was a test to see if Rick is listening.
Yep, that was just a test. Okay, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. Back to Elkhart, Indiana. We'll see if he chimes in.
Okay, well, let's see.
So we're off the bunk beds. What do we got next?
Let me go into.
How about, you got pictures of food? We've been talking about RVs for quite a while. Do you have any pictures of the buffet?
No, I took
barbecue.
I took the buffets out. But let's talk a little bit about truck campers, because they're kind of like the unsung heroes of our industry. And I just passed them. Where'd they go? There it is.
There we go. That Lance with the new logo. I think we talked about these briefly last week.
Yeah. Lance, new logo.
You never know that's a truck camper.
No, and with the slide out, that's not the picture I want. That's the wrong picture.
Michigan State. Okay, he is watching.
He is watching. Okay, I thought you may have had it wrong. So.
And John Shaw, I don't know what John Shaw is referring to, but he says WTF. He must mean West Texas and Florida. That must be what he means by that.
So there's the inside of the truck camper with a slide out in the back. And again, they got amazing room for pickups. And one of the trade magazines I got one today that has a whole series of interviews with truck camp manufacturers. I'm surprised we don't see more in New England, given that we do a lot of sport fishing and hunting and the like, but they're very popular. So Kessler says, John Shaw, what the heck? I don't know what that means. Kessler, they also do the Rise Supplier Awards too. That's right. So they have a new program for the suppliers. He's doing a great job. I just had a lot of fun working with them. In fact, I just submitted my last article to them from my freelance projects over at Caravan Salon, and it's for the trade magazine, so it'll be in RV Business. But it was Rick asked me to write something up as the impressions of somebody going to Caravan Salon for the first time. So out of respect for that gigantic amount of money that they had to pay me for all that freelance work, I won't tell you what I wrote, but when it's printed in RV Business, I will print it because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. Although Rick accepted it today, so he must have liked it. So we're probably on good solid ground there. But it's
yeah. And by the way, Bob, Rick said thanks for the kind words, but Rick, the truth is we didn't mean them. We were just being facetious.
And Michelle reminded us, she says, yes, and Rick and ROTV, Rolling On TV, are working hard on the RV of the Year award show. Well, I'm sure you are. That's always a big event. They do that right at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So let's keep it. Let's go big for a minute, because they're. Oh, let me stop at this particular Cougar, and I don't have. It's funny, I don't have the outside shot on this one for some reason, but there was something else that was very interesting in this travel trailer. And boom, 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 boom. So it's a Cougar. I want to say.
You should say this Cougar is a travel trailer, not the Cougar that we refer to as today.
No, but this is a travel trailer, and as you look in the back of it, you can see that there's actually a loft similar to what we've seen in the park models over the bedroom area. So within the back, you got sleeping for at least 4 in the back. And if Kevin Hiroki is on tonight, I don't think he is. He's our Cougar rep in New England, does a great job with our dealers who handle the Cougar products. And he personally took me through this one. And I thought I took a picture of the outside, but I didn't. But that was an interesting layout. And as with everything else in the RV industry, it won't take long for people to start copying it. So make it a little bit higher in the back, or maybe drop that bedroom floor down a little bit, but gives you double the sleeping capacity in the same amount of space. And everybody what we see happening is people want all the stuff that they've had in the bigger motorhomes and bigger trailers, but they want it in a smaller package now. And those small units are really driving the increased sales that we see in the marketplace. So there's a shift of where the consumer dollars are going. You want to comment on that, John?
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to that Vanagon that we saw at Winnebago the first day, with the rooftop popping up and getting 2 more beds in the same space of a regular van. And again, a lot of this is driven by people who want to get off the beaten path. These are not necessarily campground people, but they're camping people.
Yep.
I think that was a very nice way I just put that.
Yep, and this is a Cougar toy hauler, which has been reintroduced to the dealers. But again, a large garage on the back, on the fold-up deck, and the outdoor patio. But that's something new that the Cougar dealers are going to have on their lots real soon, probably delivering, in time. Hopefully, we'll see some of these in time for the Boston show and some of the other shows in New England. On that, and then going back to,
let's go back to the food.
Well, we don't have food.
How about the elevator's truck?
Huh?
Or you got rid of all the incriminating evidence, right?
Yeah, I put it. Yeah, I ate them all.
Yeah.
I had a fifth wheel. Oh.
How about Keith Urban? You got any shots of Keith Urban?
No shots of Keith Urban. I had a fifth wheel, but I don't know where it went. Okay, so let me do this. Boom.
Okay, while you're doing that, while you're trying to get your gear together, I'll just tell people, please take the time to share. And we've said it over and over again, but sharing allows us to reach 15 to 20,000 people a week. I just upped it. I went from 10 to 15 to 15 to 20, but we know they're going to share this. And we get word when you share. So we'll be extra nice to you. And
Bob, that would be good.
A couple extra things there. Huh? That's not
things. One, the Class Bs, the Travado is probably one of the fastest selling Class Bs out there. And that's on the Dodge ProMaster, the Ram ProMaster chassis. But they are just flying off dealer shelves. And again, Caravan Salon had a lot of Class Bs. And dealers are starting to pick them up. Jesse Brissett from Hemlock Hill was on the show last week, and they just picked up the Coachman Class Bs. So you're going to start to see. I think they're going to finally start to take hold in New England. We tend to be a little bit slower. We were slow on park model introductions. We were slow on toy haulers. We were slow on Class Bs.
Slow on Super Cs.
Slow on the West Coast. So we tend to take a little bit more time, making up our minds around here. But I think this is the year where you're going to see most every one of our dealers start to sell. If they have not sold Class Bs, they will start selling Class Bs. And those that have sold Class Bs will bring on an additional 1 or 2 product lines to complement what they have because of the variety of what's out there. And one of the things that is gaining a lot of popularity is, oops, I'm sorry, I dropped you down by mistake, John. Let me bring you back up. I took you out of the program there for a minute.
Jealous.
Yeah. Wanted to get you off the screen there for a while.
Jealousy.
But this
Crosstrek,
and I'm trying to figure out where the front end of it is here. I had it there. Boom, boom.
That's a motorhome there, so
it is a motorhome.
Forest River. Did we see that at Forest River?
That was at Forest River, and I don't I don't know what I did, but I lost the front end of it. So let me show you the inside of it. The front end I wanted to show you was it's on a Ford Transit chassis.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, I saw a video on YouTube the other night, and I did not learn this in Elkhart, and I did not learn this in Caravan Salon, but this is built on a gas engine or a diesel engine. But the diesel product on the Ford Transit is going to be discontinued, or they've already stopped making it. They have a brand new gas engine.
A Coachman. Rick says Coachman.
Yes,
Yeah, okay, so it's Forest River. Okay.
Coachman, which is Forest River.
Yeah.
But they have a new gas engine coming out on the Ford Transit. So they have a new chassis. So Mercedes came out with their new chassis. Now the new Transit chassis is out, but it's only in gas. It's going to be about 8 months before they introduce a new diesel chassis.
Well, that's surprising. They were chassis style so soon. They've been out there for a couple of years.
What's that?
That they would. Is it a redesigned style?
Yeah, it's a redesigned engine.
Engine, okay.
Engine, and the front end's a little bit different, but it's significant because they come out with their standard gas and standard diesel when they first brought it out to see how it was going to do. Well, it's done so well that they're changing over to a much more efficient gas engine and chassis. And then they're going to redesign their diesel product, but that's going to be about 8 months. So a lot of the sales are going to be on the gas unit right now because the mileage is very good, and it's a unit that's cost effective. I mean, you can buy these things for around $70,000. So
Bob, I think it's important to point out that the picture in the bottom left, feel free to drop me out so that you can see that better, but that's a bicycle, full-size bicycle standing up, and it's a lot easier on the bicycle to not be hanging off the rear ladder or off a bicycle carrier.
Yeah,
bike rack.
That might. I mean, that can hold 2 bikes. Probably could hold a scooter.
Oh,
I mean,
there is 2 bikes in there, right? I couldn't see that.
Yeah, it's critical. I mean, there's a lot of space in there because they raised the bed up on the inside. Yeah. But this is what's going to drive a lot of the dealers who have not quite gotten it, if you will, about Class B motorhomes. When you start to get into the $70,000, $80,000 price range, that's the price of an SUV.
Bob, I'd say that's a B plus or a C. I wouldn't call that a B.
I think I'd agree with you. It's probably in terms of how they configure the front end, and that's why I don't know what happened to the picture. Literally, just
we're right after this show's over. We're going to be searching for a new co-host, someone who can get the technical aspects of this program. Obviously, you see that I'm flawless in my commentary, but Zagami has just been stumbling more than ever before. It might be a sign of either Jack Daniels or old age.
Well, you are so smooth. That's
right,
true, John. You know,
right. Even when I'm firing you from the show right on the air, a lot of people aren't even. You know what? It's. I think I'm doing a good job. It's good. It's the new standard for corporate operations. There we go. Boy, that looks good.
Cool. But do you have the time to interview all these qualified people who want my job?
Well, I mean, you know, we could determine that by how much money they would pay me to be on the show.
Well,
do it the old-fashioned way, bribery. Bribery will get you everywhere.
They have to pay to be with you.
Right. What do we got there?
This is a Keystone Legacy Edition, a real high-end luxury fifth wheel for them. And you can see the one side of the kitchen there. Let me show you the other side of the kitchen. And again, fifth wheels are extremely popular now, both from a standpoint of people that want to, let me do this, boom, 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 people that want to travel in them, but also as destination trailers. There's another view of the kitchen itself. Nice. So yeah, those are extremely popular. And we did have the design aspect of it's getting a little bit better in terms of their design, and something that is a little different that doesn't look like the everyday trailer. And in fact, quite honestly, there's 2 ways to look at this. It's either you kind of look at it and say, wow, it's more like a boat, or more like a European trailer. And that's the area from New Camp. which will be getting into the dealer's showrooms sometime soon, probably maybe in time for the show. I'm not sure we'll have it in the show, but it's got a couple of big skylights, windows that open in the front. The inside looks like a yacht, really high-end appliances and stuff. So that was very popular at the show in terms of what they have available for them there. So I think that's about it.
Front end of that is very similar to that holiday house that we saw with Mark Lucas last week.
Yep,
with
the big
very airy, spacious dinette.
Yeah,
in the front, which drops down into sleeping area too, as well, if needed.
Yep,
and
then on a smaller scale, again, this was the smaller Envision from Gulfstream. And again, it had a Murphy bed in it. It's got the couch, got the bathroom in the back. Across from there is the kitchen. But that's a pretty compact package in 17 or 18 feet. So you're going to see those a lot on the dealer lots this year, and you're going to see them a lot in the show. So I think the other thing that I'm looking forward to, I think, emphasized at our shows because they don't see enough small units, and they're justified. I mean, there was a time when you'd go to our show or some of the other shows in New England, it was always the big motorhomes and big fifth wheels and big trailers and the like. But the demographics have shifted dramatically, but so also has the product mix. So I think we're going to see this year a lot more Class Bs, a lot more small trailers, a lot more of the compact fifth wheels, small toy haulers, which is where the activity, the high end of the activity is in the marketplace today.
Bob, Maria asked, do you think you'll see a lot of these at the Tampa show? And I'm going to go out on a limb and say absolutely yes, because Tampa is a huge show. It's outdoors, indoors, and outdoors. And they have so much more space to bring it. And whereas the Boston show is still a huge show, but we're limited in the number of units that dealers can bring. So would you agree with me that you're going to see these in Tampa?
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. There'll be over 1,000 units on display. I know they're finishing up the California show this weekend. That's a 10-day show. There were a lot of them out there also. The other thing, Maria, although you're downsizing, but Tampa is one of the few shows where you will see the Prevost bus conversions. So you'll see Parliament and Liberty Coach. So you go all the way from the pop-up, for that show, you go all the way from a $6,000 pop-up to a $2.5 million bus conversion at Tampa. And that's another one that I hope to get off my bucket list this year. Because of the conflicts with the Boston show, I've never gone to the Tampa show. So I do hope to go to the show this year and get that one checked off the list. So maybe we'll go down for a week, John, do some golfing. Oh, you don't golf. Eat some seafood. You don't eat seafood. Now, hell with you. I'll leave you home and I'll go by myself.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, like you golf, right?
Well, I hold a stick in my hand and I hit a little white ball.
Yeah.
So I think that qualifies. Now, yeah. I don't do it very well, and I don't do it very often, but I think it does qualify.
Yeah. So we got 5 minutes more left, Zagami. What's some of the craziest stuff that you think we saw?
There's so I think I took the Nobo off from last week. I like the Nobo, and we got some information coming on that soon. I just like the fact that the industry spent a lot more time the last year or two looking at the new RV consumer,
right?
The millennials, the younger people that want to do something like that, and the trend is the same in Europe. They're seeing the same trends as far as the younger people. So there's products that are going to get them out out into the outdoors a lot more, not just around the campfire. So I think you'll see that.
And you know what? I think in the 10, 12 years that I've been around this RV business, both as a consumer as well as, from the industry side of it, the demo 13 years ago was 65 to 90. And today it's, 30 to 65 as far as the new people that are coming on. But there's so many more people at that low end of the age demographic. And that bodes well for the industry, because there was a time there where nobody knew was coming in. And as you can see by a lot of the organizations, the aging of the demographic really spelled the end of that particular organization.
Yeah.
But now with the new people.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is the new people are not joiners. They're not ones that want to sit around the campfire. They want to go out on their own with maybe another couple or another family, and that's it. But they have no interest in sitting around a campfire with 80 other people talking about how life used to be.
Yeah. Rick says the opening for the pass-through is 40 by 44, and I'm guessing he means that's on the Crossflex, and he says Coachman. It is. It's Coachman. It's Crossflex is the product. Coachman being a Forest River brand, but he says that opening is 40 by 44. You know, the other way that you can tell what's happening in the industry, if you follow us on our NervDa page on a regular basis, is a lot of our dealers will post pictures of their new customers and the products that they buy. And right there, you'll see that a lot of the products that they're buying are the things like the Nobo, the R-Pod, the Geo. They all, I mean, if you took the labels off them, I'm not sure you could tell which one was which, but they're all geared towards that younger couple, younger family. They have add-ons. They put the tents on. So you usually get all the benefits of a larger one, but you're much more flexible. You're much more mobile. You're much more flexible in terms of where you can go. And they go. They don't stop at a campground. Many times they go, and they're going to be on the outdoors.
Yep.
Okay, Maria says you guys can talk RVs with hubby. He would be in his glory. Well, you know, before you head to Florida, Maria, if he wants to have a cup of coffee with John and I, we love to talk RVs, and we can do lunch.
Jerry brings up a good point, a smaller tow vehicle, because I'm seeing some of these lightweight trailers being pulled by, regular Volvos, not even an SUV, but by a regular car. And if you get the weight situation right, you can do that. And you don't need the big Ram pickup diesel power wagon like Mark Polk would like, as we show a giant power wagon truck right there.
Well, I don't want to forget our friends that like those big ones, but that's the Dynamax, it's either the DX3 or the Force, and you can see the inside picture, but the inside picture is just as nice as a luxury Class A. So going back to that, it's a very drivable unit. Now, historically, people who like those are bus drivers, firemen, police, people that drive heavy construction vehicles, because they've driven that front end chassis for years, whether it was a Freightliner or an International, on some kind of a big truck. Big truck drivers love them, but they're extremely comfortable. They've got a lot of new chassis out on them, and they can also go up to 40 feet. I mean, some of these things on these Super Cs, I think one of the new Mars is 45 feet on the Super C.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with those, Bob, is you are way high up, so you get quite a view of the road. You're looking right over cars. You're not looking through their windshields, through their tail windows. What do you call it? Their back. What do you call it? The rear window. You're looking right over them. Right. And Claude Donati told me that if you are a fireman, I should say a firefighter, can't say fireman, that they do have a fire engine red that they would make specially for you. And with that being said, let's tell people, please take a moment to share. Let's get this up into the 5-figure category.
No, we're up. Oh yeah, that's right. We are 5 figures. So we did 11,532 last week. Our record is the Caravan Salon, which was 15,300 something. So we got to make sure we get this one up there over 10,000.
Yeah. And I will be at Majors RV Friday 9 to noon. Stop by. I get more and more people. We had people in Elkhart stopping us saying, "Hey, I see you guys on Facebook all the time."
Well, if they stop, John, they could be one of your videos, because one of the reasons why the deal is like the on-site online promotion is you do a video every hour and every half hour. So starting at 9 and going through 12, that's probably at least
7 videos.
Usually 6 or 7 videos. So if they slip you a $20 bill, they might even get on the video.
Yeah, no, 20 won't do it. 20, I'll
Oh.
talk about them, but 50 will definitely get them on a video.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. Yep. So we're doing things the political way here. We're we can buy your way into fame in this business. So
Right.
we'll be in Florida. You can come visit us in the Champions Gate Bobcom Golf, and Maria will feed John. That's great. And we're overtime. Let's get out of here.
We're overtime. All right. We will be back again next Wednesday and back to more or less our regular routine. And I don't know who we're going to have, but I'll figure it out between now and next Monday. Thank you for joining us. Always nice to have you on board. Rick, thanks very much for joining in tonight. And Jerry, always for your assistance. So safe travels, and we will see you next Wednesday night. Talk to you later on.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.